If you don't have the OTB Sports app already, search OTB Sports in your app store and you can get it there free, gratis and for nothing. A reminder, OTB AM live in association with Gillette. Good morning, start with Gillette, giving you the confidence to tackle the day ahead. Now, Paul Callahan has perhaps the most unique house in golf. He lives in Westchester County in New York with a back garden right next to the 10th green at Winged Foot, where the US Open begins this morning. He spent many years travelling to Ireland to play and will be hanging the Irish tricolour proudly in his garden throughout the tournament. He's also been chatting to players in the build-up as they make their way from the 10th green to the 11th tee. So there's the picture of his tricolour. And there's Adam Scott, who was kind of called over by Paul to have a chat. And then it wasn't the only one who just stopped and was like, actually, you know what, I am going to have a chat with you because there isn't that much media. There's certainly almost no one-on-ones happening that we've been seeing from the press conferences. They've been these kind of fairly pasteurized version of what press conferences should be. So Alan Scott's like, yeah, I'm happy to sit and talk to you about my mate. Was it Jeff Ogilvy he's talking about here, where whenever he was actually en route to his plane, he was like, I'm going to go back and have a party because one of my buddies has just won the US Open. So this is Adam Scott talking with the newest golf journalist in the world, Paul Callahan, from his back garden. So ahead of the tournament, Shane sat down with Paul and had a chat. Here's how they got on.
All right, we are counting down to the 120th US Open golf tournament. It takes place at Winged Foot in New York, starting tomorrow, Thursday. So it's quite an exciting tournament. We're trying to find different ways of approaching this tournament, finding new angles to preview it. And one man with a very unique angle is on the line with me now. It's Paul Callahan, who lives on the course. It's fairly safe to say he has a house that leads on to the back of the 10th green. Quite an extraordinary view from the house. And Paul, thanks for taking the call. This is one of those calls that you never expect to make. The surroundings you are currently in, describe them for people who don't really know where you live in Westchester.
Well, as you stated, Shane, we're just behind the 10th green on Wingfoot West. And it's a nice, quiet neighborhood of primarily modest homes. And first of all, this is our home where I've raised my family with my wife, Kathy. And we're really blessed because the location affords us, the proximity. I mean, we're only about 150 feet from the edge of the green, from my patio. And it affords us the opportunity to watch, players come through all the time, members, guests. This week, obviously, all the best players from all around the world. So it's a very exciting environment.
So for people who maybe have watched tournaments before at Winged Foot, it's the 10th green, and I guess you can chat to players as well as they take their walk towards the 11th tee box. But was it Ben Hogan had the famous quote, how you're essentially, when you're taking that tee shot, the par 3 at the 10th hole, it's like a 3-iron into someone's bedroom. So that bedroom is right in your house. So is it strange to see your house on the TV like that? And I know you have the Irish flag and the US flag there behind you. So I'm sure we'll get a sight of those on TV this week.
Well, I hope so. As I stated to you at the outset, we put the Irish flag up in honor of Shane Lowry, who's the Open champion, having won last year at Royal Portrush. Just a great accomplishment for an Irishman. Obviously, the tournament had not been held in Ireland since I believe it was 1949. It returned last year to Portrush, which is a fabulous course. I was fortunate enough to play there last fall. So the tricolor is up in honor of Shane. And obviously, we're very proud Americans, and we have our stars and stripes right next to it.
I've seen a couple of interview clips you've done. You're not a journalist, but you do chat to some of the golfers as they get their practice rounds in earlier in the week. So I've seen clips of you chatting to Adam Scott, chatting to James Sugru, our own Mallow man who won the British Amateur, of course, at Portmarnock. What's it like to chat to those players? Are they all in a relaxed mood, or are some more relaxed than others, do you find, this week?
Well, you hit the nail on the head there, Shane. Yes. Obviously, we caught Adam Scott in a very good frame of mind on Monday, and he was kind enough to stop and chat with us. He was very convivial and very kind to engage us. And James Shukra, as you stated, he's a wonderful young man, and he was also very engaging. Now, you have to understand that as we get closer to the Thursday start, everyone's putting their game faces on, and they're more focused, and they don't want to really be bothered. So even on Monday and Tuesday, there were times when people came by and, they're focused. So, I try to get a brief interview and they just say they just can't do it, which is totally understandable. But it is really nice when someone does take a moment and chat with us, because we've been sharing it on Instagram, and Matt Adams has picked it up on his show. He's got it on, I think, Facebook or however, maybe YouTube. And so these snippets or brief interviews are getting around, and I think people are really excited to see them. And because, as you say, I'm an amateur journalist, just sort of shooting from the hip, if you will.
Am I right in saying you have one of the golfers competing this week staying at your home?
Yes, we're very fortunate to have Matthew Fitzpatrick and his caddy, Billy Foster, and two other of his staff with him staying at the home. And we're delighted to have them. As you know, Matt is quite a good player. He's a mean putter, just a very keen putter from what I understand when he's on. So that should pay dividends here at Wingfoot, because the greens are extremely beguiling.
I can imagine. And the course itself then, Paul, we've heard a lot in the build-up about the expected winning score of whoever is going to take this trophy this weekend. But Paul McGinley has been speaking, saying he thinks it might be around level par. Previous US Opens there have been something like 5 over, 6 over par. So what are you expecting this week as someone who lives on the course and knows the course really well?
I'm expecting about +4 to be the winning score. Okay. Steve Rabideau, who is our golf course director, he and his staff have been working tirelessly for several years. They're the best in the business, and I've never seen any golf course anywhere in the condition that Wingfoot is in right now. The rough is lush and very thick and very long, and the greens are just impeccable. And as the wind continues to blow, and as we have cool nights, they will dry out, and I expect them to even get faster. I believe they're going to roll somewhere just under 13 on the stimp meter. Yesterday, I viewed the gentleman out there using the stimp, which is very interesting. It's a sort of a very basic mechanism to measure the green speed, but I guess it's very effective. And I was told that somewhere around 13 is what they're expecting.
Just want to take you back to 2006, because that was, of course, the tournament that Jeff Ogilvy won, and quite an interesting finish to that tournament as well. You had Jim Furyk and Colin Montgomery and Phil Mickelson all finishing runners-up. None of them parred the 72nd hole, which kind of gives you an indication as to how difficult it is. What are your memories of that 06 Open? Of course, it was Ogilvy's only major, but your memories of that tournament?
Well, it was a fabulous tournament. Jeff sort of came out of nowhere. As I think he stated in a recent article in Golf Digest, he was very fortunate in that Ian Poulter showed up with a very flamboyant outfit that day, a pink outfit and a pink bag. And Jeff stated that took all the attention away from him and allowed him to focus on his game, because all the crowd and all the commentators were really paying attention to Ian in their twosome. And obviously, Jeff had a miraculous chip in on 17 West. I mean, he made a fabulous up and down on 18 for par. But had he not made the chip in, I believe it was for birdie on 17 West, from the thick rough on the left side of the green, if it didn't hit the pin smack on and go in the hole, there's a chance that would have gone all the way across the green and into the other bunker. So that's an unheralded shot that not many mention. I think that was a key to his victory. Now, there's no denying that he made his second shot on 18 did not reach the green, or it did not end up on the green. It ended up on the right before the false front. And he chipped it up, and he had about, I'm going to say it was a 5-footer downhill, which is not an easy putt, as many members and pros at Wingfoot, people who have played Wingfoot will tell you. It's not an easy putt at all, because it's a little bit tricky read. It's right to left. He probably played it inside right or maybe right edge, and he rolled it in, and he won the tournament. And hats off to him. He really deserves to hold the trophy that year in 2006. It's
a 6th US Open for Winged Foot, and I know this announcement that Winged Foot would host it was actually 7 years ago in January of 2013. Is this a date in your diary you've been literally looking forward to since then? I presume it is, as someone who lives with their backyard leading onto the 10th green.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time for the club, for the USGA, for the players, for all the members at Winged Foot, because let's face it, Winged Foot has a long and storied tradition of great golf and great tournaments. And it's a fabulous golf course, fabulous club. The two courses are just unsurpassed anywhere in the world. And the membership is tremendous, and everyone is really we have a lot of great anticipation for this tournament to kick off on Thursday morning.
Well, listen, Paul, we'll keep an eye out for that Irish flag on the TV behind you across the weekend, and hopefully it's a good omen for the Irish players out on the course at the US Open at Winged Foot this weekend. But I'm sure you have a lovely view in front of you as well of the 10th green behind the camera here. So listen, enjoy the tournament, and thanks for giving us a little bit of a tour of your backyard.
Thank you, Shane. God bless. Stay well.